Martial World Teyvat Chapter 36, Fan Fiction by Azazyel. I exhaled an annoyance hearing there were some old ghosts who were probably going to be hunting me down for my inventions. But besides that, now I was kinda worried how safe my factory would remain when Yelan had to leave, as she certainly had other responsibilities as Liyue's head of espionage and assassination. Alrighty. Wait. Are the Yaksha still here? I asked with a slight frown, and Yelan tilted her head to the side, and with an eyebrow raised she replied easily. Yes, of course they are. This factory literally outputs more than 3 times the weight of metal, concrete, and spirit stones that all the active mines of Liyue output each month. Yelan gave me a seductive smile as she teased. So yes, someone at the nascent soul of cultivation or the saint level of martial arts will be remaining here with how important these war machines are, to say nothing about the spirit stones. Left unsaid was Yelan saying. Duh. Of course, someone scary is going to be here from now on. Shaking my head I gave a grunt saying. The Hydro Yaksha didn't exactly make a good first impression in pretending to attempt to assassinate me in the middle of the streets of Liyue. The Hydro assassin's face twitched with her giving me a once-over before shrugging and saying. Well, you are alive. Though saying to get over it won't help. Either way, she and the Geo Yaksha are going to be out of the way meditating to clear their mind from their tour in fighting the abyss. A cough rang out from behind me and I saw Ganyu cover her mouth before she said respectfully. Jake, perhaps you should get the puppets in order to take care of the factory while gathering any materials you need for the next factory. To Ganyu's words, Yelan looked at me with an expression of surprise, with her asking excitedly. Oh, and what are you planning now? Even more spirit stones? Do you have some other type of weapon system you are planning to make? Shaking my head I walked into the dome of my enclosed factory and I saw that the many storage crates I had set up for while I left were filled and moved, with Yelan having clearly been manhandling my storage crates due to the clear wire marks of that were the result of her hydro razor wire fighting style. I reached into the necklace bows I had hanging under my clothes and rolled out a half-dozen spatial rings, with Shinha making noise at seeing that as I slapped open the buttons to output the filled storage crates of their metal plates, copper wire, etc., with myself humming as I went along gathering materials. After I gathered my materials I regathered my thoughts and said. As for the next factory. Yes, it will also be mining some spirit stones and other materials, but more specialized. No, the main theme of the next factory I have in mind will be an elixir and pill factory that will be directed towards lower and middle tier practitioners. Gonna need a fuck load of concrete if I am going to be making a massive pyramid to host the farms to grow the materials. I thought, with a strangled noise escaping Yelan, who looked between me and the surrounding loud machines. Even Kaching looked sheepish as she realized I wasn't lying about my plan, as I already had the herbs cuttings and seeds to grow more to produce the pills I wanted to make. But to Yelan, Shinha, and Ganyu, they could understand my war machines and somewhat accept me bringing up masses of spirit stones. But mass-producing pills? Ganyu spoke with a frown. Jake, I myself am a tier 2 alchemist, even if it's a hobby. But I know you cannot merely automate the making of pills due to the age of materials and the amount of spiritual energy and density of that spiritual energy within the materials. Her words made me smile as I held out my hands and said. That issue already has a solution. Here, come with me. I said, and I led the group to my metal building home. Wait. It's your cultivation chamber? Yelan asked in confusion, and I gave her a weird look as I went to open it, but I saw a flush enter her cheeks, making my lips twitch as I realized she had been using it as well. And Kaching had already had a girl talk with Yelan about catching me naked in there before. So it was clear she was doing the same. I shook the thought of naked Yelan out of my head, no matter how it pained me, as I coughed and said. Using this technology, one will artificially age the herbs to a matching age with the controlled spiritual density reaching the same level within each sample used for the pills, while I also clone the plants to make sure that even their complete growth cycle will be completely the same. Ganyu looked like she wanted to argue, but before she could I flipped the switch, with several hundred medium-tier spirit stones being drained of their spiritual energy and being poured into the small room I went into, and it quickly spread into the main room as this room was being sealed. It reminds me of the holy spring back at Master's abode. Shinha muttered, and I hear a popping noise as she shifted, and then even with my weak sense of cultivation, I could see the thin mist of spiritual energy being sucked into Shinha's hungry body. I blinked away the sight and said wryly, "It's only going at quarter strength for my own comfort, and you are supposed to be inside the room with it sealed to further concentrate the spiritual energy purely on yourself. Anyway. Yeah, while I get these puppets set, you girls are free to follow me or even cultivate inside the tank. I plan for us to stay the day here so I can make sure to load up on enough materials that we won't need to make a return trip." Ka-ching, Yelan, and I left my little house with myself, giving Yelan a look as I teased jokingly, "Did you at least wash up before using my cultivation tank?" Yelan, hearing my words, actually looked stunned before giggling, with her slitted eyes narrowing on me as she said jokingly, "You would like to know, wouldn't you?" I just smiled and said winningly, "All I know is, I am going to crank it up tonight, and I plan to break through to first stage martial artist and cultivator tonight to be ready for tomorrow."